Oh, good day. You might notice a different bike up on the stand. Well, those who may have been following some of my restoration videos for the Triumph Sprint may have picked up that my plan was to restore this Triumph and go through all the major operating systems on the bike, mechanical systems on the bike, and overhaul everything, and then take on the big adventure of riding that bike fully loaded for Brisbane to Adelaide, which is about 2,500 kilometres, to visit my mother, which I do every year. And that was my big plan, to get this old bike, do it up, and then to celebrate the finish of having done it up by riding to Adelaide. Well, unfortunately, just as I'd done my last bit on the bike, and I was trying to organise someone to come in and do a roadworthy on it, I went to turn on the headlights and no headlights. So I thought, oh, obviously blown a fuse or something like that. Checked the fuse, all fine. Checked the relays up under the fairing on the Triumph, all good. I actually changed a couple of relays. So, given my trip to visit my mother is to coincide with her birthday, I realised that my time is very limited to get this sorted out, and I literally haven't been able to sort out what's going on with the Triumph's electrics. So I've had to make the tough call of postponing the Triumph's initial touring trip a little while, and then taking this old girl down to Adelaide. So I've had to resort to the boringly reliable BMW R1200R, which is a little bit of an overstatement. It's a beautiful bike. It's a beautiful bike to ride, and I've done this trip on it a couple of times. It's never missed a beat. Literally is a fantastic bike, and I enjoy servicing and riding it very much. But yeah, unfortunately, my dream of riding the Triumph down to Adelaide this time has gone astray. So for now, I'm going to drop the oil out of this guy, put some new oil in, do some valve clearance checks, and check the gearbox oil, check the final drive oil, check the brake fluid, tighten up all bolts, sort of get it ready to go. So yeah, the best laid plans of mice and men, as they say. But anyway, it'll be fun, and it just allows me to delay that enjoyment of giving the Triumph its first ride. Okay, well, I've just done the valve clearance checks on both cylinders on this BMW. Now, it's a twin cylinder, horizontally aligned twin cylinder. It's got a double overhead cam, 4 valves per cylinder, so a total of 8 valves. I just wanted to say a few words about this. Applies to any bike, but there are very small tolerances in which it's acceptable clearances between the cam follower and the actual cam when the engine's at top dead center. For example, on this bike, for the inlet valves, which are on the rear side of the cylinder, the tolerance is between 0.13 and 0.23 of a millimeter. So we're into the tens to hundredths of a millimeter. And the exhaust valves, which are on the front, it's 0.3 to 0.4 of a millimeter. So why these incredibly small values between what's too tight, just right, and what's too loose? Well, it really highlights how these high-performance motorcycle engines work, and the range in which you've got that sweet spot for operating between being too tight, in which the engine has actually got excessive wear and friction, and being too loose, in which bit by bit there's excessive vibration and the engine will eventually start to shake itself to bits. So yeah, it's very important to pay attention to this. I guess most people take their bikes into the mechanic to do this sort of job, but it's quite doable at home if you've got the right tools and the right mindset and the right advice. But on this BMW, I've just been over, and I keep a little sheet like this, which I draw a little picture of each of the cylinder heads, and I mark out the position of the exhaust and the inlet valves, the upper and the lower on each side, and then using my feeler gauge. So I guess a lot of you know what feeler gauges are, but it's basically a tool that has an enormous lot of little sheets of metal of different thicknesses, right down to 0.01 of a millimeter. Clearance between the cam, which is this one here, and the cam follower, you can see it top dead center. There's just that little movement there, and it's that gap that we're talking about here. So you can use combinations of these feelers here, if you want to call them that, feeler gauge components. You pull them together. I can make 0.33 by grabbing a 0.31 and combining it with a 0.03, for example. And then once you've got a couple of them put together to the right width, you can then insert them down between the actual cam and the cam follower, and you can know whether or not that thickness passes through the gap. And so you keep basically increasing your thickness until you get to a point where it won't pass through. And then the previous one that did pass through is the actual gap. So yeah, it's quite an involved process, but it's a logical one, and I just like to use a little bit of oil that you'll often have lying around inside the cylinder head, just to lubricate it a little bit. And yeah, by a process you'll go through and end up with what I have here, which is the actual current gaps between each of the cams and the cam follower for each of the valves, the 8 valves in this bike. So bottom story, or bottom line here in my case, 3 of the valves, the valve clearance was out of tolerance, and it was out of tolerance at the high end, so it was too high. Now, given that I'm now taking this bike on a potentially 5,000 kilometre plus round trip, I do not want to have exhaust valve clearances, or inlet valve clearances for that matter, that are on the high side, because I've just got a feeling this bike will start to get worse and worse and start to damage the engine through that excessive vibration, shaking it to bits.
Circling around the sun.
Okay, well, just to finish up, servicing this BMW R1200R is the easiest of any bike. I can't imagine there's an easier bike to service than this. Generally, if there's no valve clearance adjustments to make, I can have done valve clearance checks from scratch to finish on both sides of this bike, or for the entire engine. I can be inside having a cup of tea, all job done in 45 minutes. The Triumph, as much as I love the Triumph, you've got to take the engine off, you've got to take the airbox off, you've got to have a special tool to hold the cam follower in place. It's a much bigger job. Anyway, motorcycling is not all about which is the easiest to maintain, as I'm sure everyone realises and holds themselves. Anyway, this is a beautiful bike. I'll be taking this guy down to Adelaide to see Mum this time. This beauty here, just about ready to go. When I've got time to solve all these electrical problems I've got with it at the moment, it's probably something very simple. It's very frustrating, but I mean, I've then got to get it roadworthy so I can get it registered, and I really haven't had time to give it a lot of test rides on the road before I go. So look, it's probably fate speaking to me and doing me a good hand in this case. The initial trial road run and its first maiden tour for this bike will be postponed to a future time, and it'll probably be all the sweeter. Anyway, I'll catch you all later. Happy motorcycling and keep safe.